M0FXB, welcome back to my Mazzy dog walks. It's windy in the UK, cold. I've been working on my car for the last 3 days, but anyway, it's all sorted. Why do I fix it? Because I could take it to the garage. Well, when I left school, I worked in a garage for a couple of years, and I learnt a lot of mechanics. So I just tend to fix my own cars, and some of them are really challenging. It never tends to be doing the job. The hard bit is actually finding out what the problem is in the first place, then getting to the part that you normally need to change. You just can't get to anything because front wheel drive engines, as most cars are now, everything's squashed in. But anyway, what's the video about today? You can see my hair's a mess, windy, and so I was going to say ham radio. Okay, let's talk about the very first ever ham radio that you ever had. Now I remember mine really clear because obviously my background was CB and walkie-talkies, very young. You know, you're talking I was like 11, and had an interest because of programs like Starsky and Hutch and army films with walkie-talkies. It always just got my attention. And I remember getting old antennas from cars, poking them into like a chocolate bar sort of thing, and pretending I had a walkie-talkie, and that's a long time ago. You're talking like 5 or 6. So the first one I ever had was actually a Yaesu 101ZD. So when I was about 30, had a couple of my children, and then at home I used to get a bit bored. Even though I had a lot on my plate, I still used to get a bit bored, and I was never really much of a TV person. So I bought myself a CB that I hadn't had for years, and it was okay. I set it up and it was interesting, and there was 4 or 5 locals on in town. I lived in the town centre in those days, and I got chatting with them and friendly. Anyway, walking home, there was a second-hand shop. This second-hand shop was really interesting because it was called the commission shop, and what he would do, he didn't own anything in the shop. You took your item in, and because we don't have pawnbrokers in this town, and you got a commission. So let's just say you wanted 150 quid for it, he got 20 quid, you got the rest. It was that kind of thing. He didn't have to buy any products, which is good. So I used to like just going in there and looking at all the different things he had, and a lot of it was electrical and furniture. And one day I went in and there was this Yaesu 101ZD. Now I didn't even know what it was. All I knew I loved the look of it and I had to have it, and it was only about £120, which was completely in my budget, yeah? So I sort of looked at it and I walked home and I said to my wife, oh, I've seen this radio I want to get, and she just gave me a funny look, yeah? And next thing you know, it's there on the table, and this thing weighs a ton, and it's a mixture of transistors and valves, that one. When you set them, I can't remember, there was 2 wheels that you turned to get this thing to transmit. And so the more I looked into it, I realized you had to have a license, that it wasn't just a CB. So I started searching, going, oh, how do you get a ham radio license? And it took me to this guy who lives actually very near where I live now, who was doing foundation ham radio licenses for free, mind, and you just paid for the exam. A lovely guy, G4Z ZUX, I think it was. Lovely guy. So I started going there with a friend, talked a friend into coming with me, and we started taking our foundation. And at the end of that, I got myself a G5RV, set this radio up, tinkered with it a bit, but it was obvious it was way too powerful and it just wasn't suitable for a beginner. So I sold it. Next thing you know, I'm in the same shop. He's got this tiny little radio, and I says to him, what bands does it do? And he says it does everything. And I was like, okay. So I just said, okay, paid the money. So I think it was a good £200. Took it home, and guess what it was? A Yaesu 817 that had been wide banded. And at the time that meant nothing to me. So I gradually learnt how to use it and realised what a fantastic little set it was. They weren't actually that much new, to be honest. I think they were about 300 then. But anyway, it was really good. Had a leather case, you know, and it was a real good entry point for me. I started hearing all the repeaters and HF, and it was nice and easy and portable, and I loved it. And I've still got one now. And then next thing you know, I realised that there was a ham radio shop in my own town. It's shut down now, unfortunately. QSL Communications. And I got friendly with the owner, and we would chat, and I eventually bought an Icom 2730, which has now got the black screen. I've got the black version of it, and I got that. And then I made friends with a couple of the local repeater keepers, and that was it then. I had a great time. So that's my story. So tell us your story about how you got into ham radio, what your first ham radio was, if you kept it, did you sell it? I mean, I didn't even know what a repeater was until I took my foundation, you know, that you had the frequency on 2 channels, the input, the transmit, the CT, CSS, the tone. Oh, it all just meant nothing. It just went up straight over my head. I haven't a clue what they were on about. And I think a lot of people don't realise that when you come from CB and you know nothing about ham radio and you start having to learn about repeaters, you're like, whoa, this is complicated. Yeah? And it feels like that when you know nothing, yeah? But it's not because you're not clever. It's not anything to do with that. It's just that you just got to learn. Needing to learn doesn't make you not clever. It just means you need to learn. Everyone's clever. We're all born clever. Come on, we're human beings, you know, designed to survive and adapt. Bye for now.